Hello, workmates. Welcome to Work and Talk in PH, your go to podcast for lifestyle insights, career convos, and real estate realness, where chill convos meet real life lessons because it works.
Hello, workmates, and welcome to Work and Talk in PH, your go to podcast for lifestyle insights, career convos, and real estate realness, where chill convos meet real life lessons because it works. I'm Daniel, and today we're diving into a story shaped by curiosity, innovation, and over 2 decades of leading digital transformation in the Philippines. Our guest has built a career that bridges industries, from co-founding one of the country's first food delivery platforms to launching agency MADTech divisions, to shaping how millions of Filipinos use digital technology today. He's the MADTech Programs and Transformation Head of GCash, known for building data ecosystems, loyalty platforms, and AI-driven customer engagement. A certified metaverse expert and longtime innovator, he's been at the front lines of the Philippines' digital evolution. Please welcome Mr. Francis D to the podcast. Hi,
Hello.
Francis.
Hi, Daniel. Nice to be here.
Thank you so much. So happy to have you here as well.
Same. Happy and a bit nervous and excited, I guess, at the same time.
But thank you so much for letting us interview you and have this podcast with you. So I know a lot of people are very curious with you and what you've done and the industry that you belong to. But Francis, can you give us a brief background of the career, the career that spans so many industry? What sparked your curiosity in the first place? And how did you get first interested in marketing, tech, and innovation?
Okay, so just a quick, I guess, background about myself. I never really started out as a marketing person. I actually began, my degree was actually pre-medicine. So my undergraduate degree, I have two actually. I'm a double major for movement and sports sciences and
Okay.
exercise and fitness. But I also have a minor in psychology. So it's
Okay.
really on the, I guess, the medical track, right? And then late in life, I guess, I found out while I was in college that I was very much interested, not so much in what I was learning or studying, but I mean, on consumer behavior, I guess you would call it. I was interested in how brands try to convey messages. I mean, advertising, I was very much interested in early on. No? So for me, I guess there was that conscious effort or a mindset wherein, hey, maybe I should just as a backup,
Shift.
I guess, shift. So I completed my courses, my undergraduate degree, but I did decide right after to take my master's in business administration. It's a bit, I guess, unorthodox to do that
Correct.
straight out of undergraduate degree. But for me, I think it was something that I felt I needed to do at that time. So that's what I did. To your question, I mean, that was the early, I mean,
That was the early part of
the
that
early
steered the
part of it,
interest
right?
for
Yes,
marketing. Okay.
yeah. So, like I said, what always fascinated me were two things. So, how people make choices and how systems, I guess, work behind the scenes. Like I said, marketing actually hooked me on because I love understanding why someone like
Would buy
myself,
something. Yeah.
yes, reaches for a brand on the shelf and ignores the other one, right? That's what pulled me into brand management actually at Nestle when I handled Nescafe. I mean, as early part of my career. That's actually where I learned the discipline of having consumer insights,
Correct.
positioning, and long-term brand building. To your point, the technology and innovation naman came in when I realized that that you can't rely on messaging alone anymore, especially in the latter times where we are now.
Correct. It
If
can't just
you
be word of mouth, your typical
Yeah,
advertising and marketing strategies
yes, the
because you're in the
guerrilla
digital world.
marketing, exactly. Your digital guerrilla marketing used to work before, but it doesn't work now. So the playbook has changed. And what I realized doing that is that if you want to change behavior at scale, you actually need platforms, data, and experiences that actually remove friction in people's lives. That's what actually led me naman to roles in telco, video streaming, e-com, and now MarTech. So
You've always been the pioneer for all of these industries, right?
I would like to think so. I think it's when every time I move, it actually is moving closer to the intersection of either brand, tech, and customer experience.
Correct. Always that parallelism wherein
Yes,
brands
exactly.
or consumerism meeting technology, meeting the internet.
Yes. So I guess over time, I stopped seeing marketing and technology as separate careers for me. So for me, they're just now, I mean, present time, they're just different tools all in the same job. So that
Correct.
means building systems that make sense for real people, and you can actually create a sustainable growth for the business with those things.
Understood. That's so very interesting. I can just imagine that there was this college graduate a bit fearful because
Yeah,
you're going against what you've learned and trying to pursue something different. But it paid
exactly.
off. You know, if you didn't do that, you'd be left behind because now what you're doing is basically what everyone is trying to catch up on.
Exactly. And I
Oh,
think it's something that I guess it was just happy for me, because a happy place for me, because I've always been interested in technology. I'm a gadget person up to now. So I like gadgets, I like tinkering with things, but at the same time, there's that innate thing in me wherein I like to see if I can make things better, more efficient. So there's that operational part of where I want to operationalize things and make
correct.
them
And
more
always find
efficient.
that the tweak to improve it.
Yes, always not settling, I guess.
Correct.
Yeah,
That's very commendable because
thanks.
you're not stuck into something complacent.
Yes.
Yeah. So, Francis, in your early career, you co founded City Delivery, one of the
Yes.
Philippines' first food delivery platforms. It
Yes.
must have been very exciting and a little bit scary. So, what did the experience teach you about starting from scratch, scaling something new?
Okay. So I mean, just I guess as a background, most people don't, probably the
Don't
younger
remember?
ones don't remember what City Delivery was, right? So I guess this was back in 2012. But City Delivery is now more known as Food Panda here in the Philippines. So that's what it's known now. So I guess being at City Delivery, being a startup, it was one of the most formative experiences of my career. I say that because it was the time where we were doing food delivery before it was mainstream, even
Correct.
before app or playbooks existed, right? We had to figure out everything, like let's say logistics, rider operations, customer experience, partner management,
Correct.
basically from zero, because when we took over City Delivery, or when I took over City Delivery, it was a mom and pop operation. It was very offline. It was not digital at all. So part of my career was actually
Digitizing it.
digitizing it, the digital transformation, which
Correct.
actually carried on up to my career to this day, right? So I guess a few lessons that stayed with me and I still apply to my everyday work life and in my careers in the past, are that there's actually three things. The first one is, you can't wait for the perfect condition. There's never a perfect condition. Especially when I was running City Delivery, we were always building while we were moving. I guess some of the best ideas actually came from solving problems on the fly, right?
Correct.
So, like introducing real,
Baptism by fire.
yes, baptism by fire, like introducing real-time rider tracking years before it was even a standard here in the Philippines, because we were trying to solve the problem of customers always asking us where my delivery was. Correct. So at that time, the process was customers call us or inquire about it. We call the rider and then we call back the customer. So you could tell that it was a very painful process, right? So I guess that was one of the things that I was talking about earlier, is how can I remove that friction from the customer, make that more of a
A better
seamless, yeah,
experience.
better
Correct.
experience, right? And the second one that has stayed with me is operations is always where strategy is tested.
Hmm.
So you can have a beautiful deck, but if let's say a rider cannot find a customer's address, or a restaurant can't handle the volume that you're passing on to them, whatever strategy is on the deck, that strategy fails.
Correct.
So that mindset has stayed with me, even in, I mean, even if I go into boardrooms or transformation projects, right?
So it means you're always prepared because you've experienced it. You know
Yeah,
that even though you have a good plan, you have all the processes in place, you still expect that 1% where it's gonna fail, but you need
yeah.
to
I mean,
be able to come up with a solution.
yes, and I think being in a startup, it teaches you to become more, I guess, not naman.
Resilient.
Well, yeah, it teaches you to become more resilient, but at the same time, it teaches you not to settle because you're always thinking what can go wrong. I mean, it's not naman being a doomsayer, right?
Yes,
It's more about just being able to anticipate if this goes wrong. I need to be able to be prepared for Plan B.
correct. And to handle
And
it with grace.
exactly right. And I think the last one, the third one, is being resilient and transparent is very important more than being a hero or heroics. I would
Mhm.
say it. So there were days where things went wrong, and there will always be those days where systems went down or orders piled up, but you still show up, right?
Correct.
Communicate it honestly, fix it fast, and listen to the customers so that if they see that you do those things, then you earn the right to keep going. I guess later when I pivoted to an e-commerce business, which is my I guess Cash Pinoy days, into a B2B service and a loyalty data model, it reinforced another lesson. And that lesson is sometimes the bravest move is just to admit that the model has peaked, it's served its purpose, it's time, and it's time to redirect the engine towards where the real long-term value is at.
Okay. That's so interesting because it takes an amount of humility to be able to admit that as well. But
Yeah,
even if you have that, you're able to, go the next level. I also like what you said, Francis. For people that are in a new job or even starting a business, they can't wait for the perfect time and everything's perfect. All the opportunity, all their everything's prepared because if they wait for perfection, it's not gonna come.
exactly. And I mean, and what I've found out and what I've experienced is that, people try to look for that eureka moment. And that eureka moment, to your point as well, is it will never come unless you do it. And you will experience that eureka moment in the middle of all that thing if you really immerse yourself in what you're doing.
What would you advise people that are planning to be in a new business, but they're hesitant to move forward because they're afraid? People that are afraid of failure.
I mean, for me, I always tell people, nothing ventured, nothing gained, right?
Correct.
So because if like I said earlier, you cannot there's never that perfect moment. And my advice would just be just go for it. I mean, to be honest, you will learn things along the way. The
Hmm.
important thing is to take that first step to start.
Correct.
And everything else will fall into place because again it's similar to like trying to prepare the very perfect pitch deck or a deck presentation deck, right? You prepare it so much that you get thrown off by a curveball because something in someone was looking for something that's not in the deck. And it's the same with businesses, or starting your own business. There's always people who's not gonna be, I guess, attracted to what your business is. But there's also that person, or there's the other half of it that people will be interested. I guess the message is you cannot really please everyone.
Everyone. Correct.
So it's just really trying to find your niche, and really just believing in your product or services that you're offering.
Absolutely. And now, Francis, you're in GCash. And I doubt that there's anyone in the Philippines now who doesn't know what GCash is all
Well, yeah,
about.
true.
So, because GCash is now part of the daily life of millions of Filipinos. From your perspective, what does it take to build a brand people truly trust and rely on, especially when it involves their money?
I guess for me, it's really just building trust. Meaning, how do we build trust? It's being able to be honest with people, being able to tell them that what you see is what you will get. No, no. I know in advertising, you're like, I've been in media, right? So I've been part of media, so we know that. Um,
No half truths.
Yeah, I mean, there shouldn't be any half truths, because at the end of the day, the or some people fail to realize that the consumers are very smart, especially in the digital era, right?
Absolutely.
And you have children who grew up being digital natives. So to them, trust is very important, and being real as from a brand perspective is very important. I guess for me, trust is built less by what you say and more with what people experience repeatedly, diba? Because I can say one thing and not experience it at all and just say, you're full of fluff, right? It's all
Mhm.
fluff. It's what we call, or what I call, press release lang yan, diba?
Correct.
So, give you examples from my experience. At Nestle, it was about, I guess, consistency and relevance in people's daily routines, right? In City Delivery naman, and later in Fox Plus, which is a streaming platform, which is now Disney Plus, by the way. And in the telco, where I came from, it was about reliability and ease. Meaning, does the service work when they need it? And in MarTech, which I'm in now, and CRM, which were my roles in media and in agencies, it became about, are we talking to people in a way that, I guess, respects their time, attention, and of course their data being digital, right? So among those things that I've mentioned, I think that there are three common ingredients. One would always be reliability. So if the product or service fails at key moments, no amount of branding can cover that up. That's for sure. Then there's clarity, right? So people need, like I said earlier, people need to understand the value, the terms, and what they're giving in return. So whether it's money, data, or their time, time is very important. And what I said is you have to be consistent over time. Trust is not a short game. Trust is actually a very long game. So the more touch points that you manage, the more important it is to keep that experience coherent and consistent. So I guess from my career, it's basically been about designing or fixing those systems, whether that's a loyalty engine or a streaming lifecycle program or even a CRM strategy for, let's say, a big QSR brand, right? So it's about always about those things.
It's always about experience. It's always about reliability. It's always making sure that the customer experience is truthful
Yes,
so that they will keep coming back and make sure that they trust the brand. Very
yes.
interesting. Now in all of your years working in tech, data, consumer behavior, what truth about customers has remained constant no matter how fast things change?
Okay. So I think especially the past 3 years, I mean, especially here in the Philippines, what I notice is the constant truth is always about customers don't really exist to validate our strategy decks. And I've said that earlier, right? I mean, the consumers or customers are people like us. So they're very busy. They care about getting home on time, paying their bills, feeding their families, and then in with all those things, there's also the need for finding a moment of entertainment for them, the me time. So whether you're a brand, app, or a campaign, you're just actually one small part of a very noisy life of an
Of
individual.
it.
So if what we build doesn't really make something genuinely easier, safer for them, or more rewarding, or even meaningful, they'll ignore it. So no matter
Mhm.
how clever the idea is. So for me, the data tools and even now, artificial intelligence or AI is such a big thing, right? It's just there to help us see patterns more clearly.
Correct.
But the core has not really changed over the years. It's like people want simplicity, they want fairness, and they want reliability. So if you don't respect the realities of their lives and design things around that, then you
It's
earn the right to ask for attention and their loyalty.
so the constant really is to make sure your customer is the most important thing.
Yes,
Being able to provide something for your customer and not be just part of an inconvenience for them.
exactly. Because at the end of the day, I mean, I guess in the workforce, and I talk about my experience. My job exists because of consumers, of customers. and the customers are people like us. So what I always advise, I guess, brands and people who want even to get into business in the Philippines or anywhere else, from a consultant point of view, right? It's data is nice, platforms, tools, all the campaign executions are nice. But if it's not built out around customer centricity, it
Mhm.
will not work.
Absolutely. Yes. Because if it doesn't reach your target market, it's not gonna fly.
Exactly.
Now you've mentioned Francis AI. So you've worked closely with emerging tech, AI,
Yeah.
loyalty ecosystems, data platforms, automation, and more. What innovation excites you the most this coming years?
What excites me actually isn't a single buzzword, because I say buzzword because AI this, AI that, right?
Correct.
So that's the buzzword for me now. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
everyone's AI, chat GPT this,
ChatGPT,
Copilot this.
Gemini, Copilot. So it's not the buzzword, but for me, it's actually the combination of few things. For me, what's important, or what excites me because of the technology that we have now, it's actually we can now have better data foundations. What do I
Mm,
mean by this? So it's now data is now more clean, connected, privacy respecting data that
mhm,
lets businesses see the full customer journey, not just on one channel.
mhm,
The other one is, because of tech, there's smart orchestration. So meaning you can now use AI and automation not just to send more messages, but to decide when not to talk to the customer. And then I think the last one for me would be, and what I'm working on right now is value-led incentives, right?
mhm.
So loyalty and reward systems that are tied to real behavior and long-term value, not just short-term discounting, which is, you it's very typical of when you play the loyalty and reward system, right? So I've seen this in different stages, right? From building CRM programs or a QSR in FMCG to life cycle strategies, for the streaming platform, or to even martech, or marketing technology transformation in agencies. But what excites me, like I said, is when you see all that intelligence and use that intelligence to be able to, I guess, design experiences that feel lighter for the customer, not heavier. My thinking kasi is innovation for me is successful when the technology disappears into the background
Mm,
and people just feel that, okay, the brand gets me and doesn't waste my time,
very interesting, Francis. That's
because I get
exactly
annoyed when you waste my time.
correct, correct. And you're right. You know, you if it's seamless, if the data is able to help you in your marketing and everything just blends into the background.
Yes.
You're not even aware that it's a marketing campaign or it's big data being used on you so that they can get you to do a certain behavior.
Yeah. And I think for me, just I guess to kind of put more context into that, if you, I know, and I'll talk about GCash where I work now. No, so GCash, you don't even realize that you're using it. It becomes it's a habit now. Eh.
It's automatic for
It's
me. And any
automatic.
transaction, the first
Exactly.
thing
So
I ask the people is, do you have Gcash? Do you have
yes,
Gcash?
precisely. So it's because GCash has actually figured out a way to embed themselves in the lives of Filipino that's not intrusive,
Mm-hmm.
that's actually very
Convenient.
customer experience centric,
Mm-hmm.
and it actually solves problems for the typical Filipino people such as ourselves, right?
Correct. And I'm very happy that the absorption of Gcash has widened and
Yes,
every person I know already has it. Even
exactly.
small stores, micro, small, medium enterprises
It's
have
in the
Gcash.
palenques now also.
Correct. Even the
Yeah,
people selling their vegetables and fruits on the Cariton,
exactly.
they have
GCash.
Gcash.
Exactly.
And I think the pandemic and the lockdown helped Gcash
I think
reach new heights.
exactly, and I think it's true for most digital companies.
Perfect
Or
timing.
digitization actually was accelerated by the pandemic, and I think it just only from a consumer mindset, it actually helped us become more at
Mainstream.
par or
Yeah,
mainstream with our Western counterparts, right?
correct.
In fact, where I think in certain cases we are more advanced than they are now.
Now, Francis, if you could teach every Filipino one digital skill or mindset to prepare them for the future, what would it be?
Interesting question. I think we're talking about digital, right? I think for me, I'd focus on being digitally curious, but also digitally critical. What
Mm-hmm.
do I mean by this? Digitally curious, don't be afraid of new tools, platforms, or ways of working. A lot of my career leaps come from saying yes to things that weren't fully defined yet. So I like, I mean, there's a lot of ambiguity, right? Whether it was a new streaming product, a loyalty platform, or even a new MarTech stack. So you just say yes to it, take it. I mean,
Take
accept
it
it
and learn from it.
and learn from it. I say digitally critical because at the same time, don't blindly trust everything, right? What do I mean by this? Especially now, there's a lot of people taking advantage of digitization to scam people, right? So always question links, offers, data requests, and what I want to say, too good to be true growth promises, right?
Is
And
actually correct. Yes.
correct. And the same applies whether you're a consumer or a decision maker in the company. The combination actually, that combination, being able, curious enough to experiment, critical enough to protect yourself and your organization, is, I think, the survival skill for the next decade. I mean, if I want to frame it in that way.
I think it's very interesting, Francis, because we really need to teach people not to be afraid of technology,
Yes.
especially when we get older, the drive to learn something new.
Yeah.
I, for as an example, I was I grew up with PowerPoint, but now the young ones are using Canva. So
Exactly.
we need to shift with them and learn also what they're using now and not be
Yeah.
afraid to, experiment, to fail. But you're right,
Exactly.
be critical, be prudent. When you use technology, make sure it doesn't abuse you, doesn't take too much of your data and sell it somewhere else. So you're correct. You need to be very vigilant when it comes to technology as well, but not afraid to use it.
And for me, I mean, if I'll just share. I mean, I hope I don't reveal my age too much. Uh, technology is our friend. It's everybody's friend, and that's the mindset that you should always have. For me, kasi before I was always thinking because of our traffic situation here in the Philippines. I always said I always wish for somebody to invent something that the car drives itself. Right?
Mm,
Lo and behold,
we
I mean,
have.
Tesla is there now,
Mhm.
full self-driving. So for me, honestly, I can't wait for that technology to arrive here. Although we do sell Tesla cars in the Philippines, we still need to be able to fix our roads to be
Correct.
able to activate full self-driving. But for me, that's something I am looking forward to. And it's not just about convenience; it's also about being more productive.
Mhm.
And I say that from a mindset that for me, I travel, and we were just discussing this prior to the podcast, right? For me, I work in BGC, but I live in QC and I go to work every day. On a regular day, it takes me 3 hours both ways. So an hour
Oh
and a half,
wow.
an hour and a half to go back, an half to come home, right? Or to go to work, and vice versa. That 3 hours can be spent if, and I don't have a driver, so I
Mhm.
drive myself. So
Yes.
I can't wait that full that full self driving feature in cars, right?
So that you can multitask while driving.
Exactly, because
Yeah.
now, I mean, I can do catch up with work because if you have a lot of meetings, you can catch up with your paperwork in the car while you're stuck in traffic.
Correct. We could do
Without
this interview even though you're
Yeah,
stuck
even
in
if yeah,
traffic.
exactly right. So I'm looking forward to that day, right?
I think it will come soon.
I
Maybe
hope so.
in 5, 10 years.
I
As
hope
long as we
it's
fix our
sooner.
roads, yes.
Yeah, yeah,
It's going to be hard for a self-driving car to navigate Philippine traffic, but
yes,
hopefully it can.
it can soon. Fingers crossed.
True.
True,
I'd be
right?
so excited to be on a self-driving car.
Yes.
Now, Francis, across your 20-year career, you've experienced reinventions and challenges. Can you share one of the toughest moments and what it taught you about leadership and growth?
I think some of the toughest moments were not, I guess, obvious crises or
Mm-hmm.
crises for me, right? but they are actually transitions.
Mm.
Meaning, when you're driving change, the outcome
Mm.
is not always guaranteed, and not everyone is on board. So, example, at City Delivery and later on Cash Pinoy, the group buying site, shifting business models under pressure was tough. You're asking your teams to change how they work while trying to keep the lights on.
Mhm.
In an agency setting or even in a consultancy role, leading MARTech or transformation programs, it meant persuading multiple stakeholders, right? From marketing, IT, finance, your C-level leaders. That's the pain of that. I mean, you're convincing them that the pain of change is worth it. So for me, what I've learned with those experiences is that you always need to be clear. You
Mm.
always have to have an honest narrative. You have to trust that people can handle bad news and uncertainty better than mixed signals or silence.
And in your experience, are they accepting of these changes?
I think for me, in my experience, yes.
Yeah.
At some point, again, if you just explain it properly and be very honest and not
Communicate
be
and
vague
over communicate.
and over communicate, yes, to your point, I think they're more receptive to those things. The other one is you can't tie your identity or a title or to a single project, because in at least in my experience, your value is the pattern of how you show up. And that's my advice to the younger, I guess, generation now working, right? The value is your pattern of how you show up, especially when things are ambiguous.
Mhm.
In the workplace, and I'm sorry, I mean, I hear this a lot. It's not my job. It's not in my
Mm.
job description. It's not clear. But life is not always clear. Life is not set
Black and
up in
white.
a black and white in a way that A, B, C, and D is gonna happen to you, right? So I think that's something that I want, I guess, the younger generation to take away, is that your value as a worker, as a person, is in the pattern of you showing up, especially in tough moments. That's how
Mhm.
you establish yourself, and that's how you get people to trust you also. And this is, I like this one because I've seen the other side of this, and leadership is often quiet. Um, it's 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 in how you protect your team, how you give credit to your team and people that deserve the credit, and how you absorb the pressure of work so that others can move forward. And I think that's a sign of a great leader.
Mhm.
And it's something that I've learned from my previous bosses. And now that is something that I carry forward, especially if given that I do have people who I am responsible for.
Mhm.
So that's those experiences shaped how I lead now. Like I said, so I lead direct. I'm very direct. I'm very frank. Sometimes it's too frank. Transparent, and always trying to connect whatever change or transformation that I'm working on back to a human reason.
Mhm.
Not just, I mean, again, like I said, not just a slide on a deck, right?
Correct, correct. That's so interesting, Francis. And I hope our young viewers, our young listeners can take that bit of knowledge and make sure they practice it in their work life, especially now. You're right. A lot of our younger employees tend to, put themselves in silos and make and
Correct.
restrict themselves because if it's not part of the job description. But I like what you said. Show up, be mindful when you're at work, and be prepared for the challenges. And it really is a mindset. You don't need to have all the skills. You don't have
Mhm.
to be perfect at work, but show up and do the work.
Exactly. And this is what I tell my children also, is that no one expects you to know everything, because no one does know everything.
Correct.
If you're in a workplace, and this is how I've built my career, right? Um, it's continuous learning. Yeah, I'm always a student, because to your point, if I put myself in a silo, then it restricts me from seeing the bigger picture, because I just see what's there in front of me, right? It's technically blinders on a horse. Correct. So for me to be successful in work or even in life or in business, you have to see the bigger picture, the overall
Mhm.
picture. And the only way that I guess, in my opinion, that you are able to do that is to get your hands dirty, right? And being able to be uncomfortable with things.
Correct.
Because if you're uncomfortable, then you
That's where
tend to
growth is.
ask more direct, more
Mm-hmm.
questions. You tend to be more inquisitive, and that's when you learn. I'm a self-taught MarTech person. I know there's no school for marketing technology. It's, I mean, now there's a lot of seminars and webinars, etc., right? Or courses that you can take. But again, not revealing my age, my time, I had to learn this on my own. Chat GPT wasn't there. It wasn't,
Mm.
AI was not there. So it was really a lot of research, reading, and finding resources that would answer my queries, my curiosity, right?
Yeah. And a lot of trial and error.
Exactly. That's why you should never be afraid to fail.
Mm-hmm. It's the best
Because,
teacher.
yeah, failure will just, okay, you learn from your experience. And not all experiences naman are
Positive.
flowery or nice,
Yes.
right? Or positive, right?
Correct, correct. Now, what big shifts do you foresee in the next 5 years in the digital ecosystem or
Ah,
in customer behavior or in technology?
funny you should ask that because I was just asked that a few days ago. And like, for me, I see three big shifts. The first one, and I think people are seeing this more. You're now shifting from channels to more of systems.
Okay.
So what do I mean by this? So companies will be forced to think less in terms of whether social media, CRM, loyalty, or e-commerce as separate silos, right? And more as one connective value system around the customer. That's why if in my previous roles and as in the agencies, right, the ask of brands or businesses is always, how do I get a 360 view of the customer? You try to hit the customer at the perfect time when there's that intent to purchase, right? And that's not naman the whole 8 hours of the day. So you have to hit them at the right platform at the right time.
Time.
So that's one. But the next big shift that I'm seeing is you try to shift away from campaigns to a continuous experience. And I mean is we're already moving from big bang campaigns, one time big time shotgun approach type campaigns, right? To the shift is now going to more always on journeys where every touch point, as I said earlier, either builds or erodes your relationship with the customer. And we're moving away from vanity metrics to real accountability. And I what I mean by this, it's whether it's media, loyalty, or content, the pressure will always increase to prove that these investments drive real business outcomes. So what are those? Revenue, retention, and long-term value of the customer. So not just whoever has the most likes or most clicks on an ad, right? So for me, across my roles, from brand management to consulting, I've always seen organizations that who learn to orchestrate customer experience end to end will actually have a clear edge and become successful.
Very interesting, Francis. I think we've come to our final question for the night. So, for anyone
Sure.
looking to grow in digital marketing or tech leadership, what single most valuable piece of advice you'd give based on your experience?
Oh, that for me that's very simple because I live and breathe that every day. It's learning to connect the dots across three languages. So that those languages are customer, business, and technology. So you need to understand customers deeply enough to know what actually matters to them.
Mm-hmm.
The second is understand the business enough to be able to speak profit and loss, P&L, margins, ROI, and risks.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last one is to be able to understand technology enough to have an intelligent conversation with your product teams, your data teams, and engineering without really needing to be the one coding everything. I don't know how to code.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't claim to be a coder. So my career has basically been about, I guess, standing at the intersection and making sure everyone sees the same picture.
Mm-hmm.
If you can do that, then connect the people, the ideas, and the execution around a clear outcome, you'll always be relevant no matter how tools and buzzwords change.
Thank you so much, Francis. That is very insightful. And I hope people that are listening to us take that into their daily lives and make sure that they really follow that advice.
Thank you so much also. I enjoyed our conversation.
I enjoyed it too, Francis. So, Francis, thank you so much for joining us and sharing your journey through tech, innovation, and transformation. Your story reminds us of that growth that comes from staying curious and willing to evolve. To everyone listening, we hope today's episode inspires you to embrace change and keep learning. Don't forget to follow Work and Talk in PH for more episodes like this, where we highlight work that matters and the people behind it. So again, I'm Daniel, and this is Work and Talk in PH, your go-to podcast for lifestyle insights, career convos, and real estate realness, where chill convos meet real life lessons because #it works.